morning. Welcome to Pries Capital. You must be the new recruit.
Oh, is this the new recruit?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. Follow me, Mr. Superstar. Here at Pries Capital, we love showcasing art. The stunning bronze dragon sculpture, Kiko, by the renowned artist Nano Lopez, is definitely a showstopper. And these pieces on the walls, the legendary Michael Godard is practically a rock star in the art world. There's art all over the office, creating a vibrant, creative atmosphere to work in and collaborate in. And here is Tyler Pries, our hardworking mortgage loan officer. If you're looking to purchase real estate in the Myrtle Beach area, Tyler's the guy to know.
Looks like I have your hands full. Ashlyn, can you grab a book for him? And I'll see you at the meeting.
And here's Raj, one of Jason's right-hand guys for commodities trading. Good morning, Raj.
Good morning.
Meet the new recruit.
Hi. Hope you like to work hard and play hard. This is a high-stakes environment. Split-second decisions can make or break an opportunity. Welcome to the firm.
Don't worry about Raj. He's a quiet powerhouse, but he's critical to everything we do here. And here's the founder and real estate powerhouse herself, Tina Price.
Good morning. How are you? So glad to have you with us. Can't wait to see you in action. We're just about ready to start the meeting for Jason's market analysis. I will see you both in the conference room.
Good morning, Jason. This is the new recruit.
Hey, welcome. We're glad to have you here. Your skill set is exactly what we need. I love people dedicated to their craft. But hey, I got to get ready for this morning's analysis, so I'll see you in a bit.
Thanks, Jason. You're awesome. Right here, we have one of our many conference rooms. And down the hallway over here, we have the intelligent and sharp-eyed Miss Jill.
Why, thank you, Ashlyn. Nice to meet you.
Jill thrives in the world of spreadsheets, balance sheets, and financial forecasts.
You'll fit right in, so go check out your new office.
And here's your new office. And over here, we have some welcome goodies for you. Just a small thank you of saying welcome to the family. Okay, so I've got to get ready for the meeting, but check out the gym over here, grab some coffee and bagels in this room to the right, and then I'll meet you in the conference room.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Go ahead, take a seat. Welcome back to another morning market analysis. Let's get comfortable and dive in.
Good morning. Make sure the volume is being recorded here. Anyways, how's everybody doing this morning? Today, a bear trap worth hunting. Thursday's setup could be a big payday. Back to business today, and the charts are giving us exactly the kind of structure that smart money waits for. After yesterday's strength and the overnight pullback, we're stepping into the kind of structure that smart money waits for. We're stepping into a session with two powerful clues, a strong prior move, and a clean developing range. With those two elements show up together, bear traps become highly probabilistic opportunities. And this morning's profile is lining up beautiful for them all together. So anyways, it's early in the morning trying to read that verbatim. Welcome back to another edition of Team Day Traders Morning Market Analysis. Grab your coffee, settle in, and let's prepare for this morning's session. As always, subscribe and check out the resources in the description below. Always like to start off with my Y Charts dashboard. Obviously courtesy of Y Charts, but today's market commentary as I open up into today's session, just to kind of mentally see what's going on in the world on a day-by-day basis. Equities, we do know, are scheduled to open up in the futures. They are a little bit lower, so again, a slight lower open. Key economic events, obviously the House passed the government open yesterday. I thought it was like 222 to 200 and something. Anyways, all of the Republicans voted for it, and then you had a bunch of Democrats. So it did get passed, and then Trump is signing it. I don't think we're going to get the inflation, the CPI report today. That doesn't seem like that's going to come in. Obviously, it's 8:33. I don't see it coming in. I did not see it come in through the wire. So we'll have to wait for that to come out. It is expected for non-farm payrolls tomorrow, so that will be a big, right? We'll be definitely trading tomorrow. Hopefully we catch some volatility and that plays out tomorrow with the non-farm payrolls. That is still scheduled for tomorrow. So with the reopening, that looks like they're going to get that off tomorrow. So we'll be watching that first thing in the morning. What else? Cisco, right? We were talked about that yesterday. Cisco earnings came out last night after the close, and looks like we're up 6.3 in the pre-market. Walt Disney, although I was not looking at this, but right, as far as the commentary, it's down 3%. I will be a little bit watching Applied Materials after the close today, so right, just AM EST. And then I know we talked about this. I did add and really get good trade location in yesterday on the crude oil charts. Let's look at that chart real quick. I want to look at that flex chart. So let's look at that. So, where's my markers? Got to get the crayons out, right? All right, so I do like, I know I've been talking about, right? So there's, for anybody who's new, there's portfolio construction that we do, and right, that's long-term investing, right? Construction, legacy investing is how I always talk about it. We're always investing or constructing a portfolio for like 100 years. I know a lot of 401ks, or you talk to your financial advisor and they're like, it's basically building a portfolio for your living life. At least here we think of building portfolios for a legacy, and in thinking through that, we're thinking like 100 years. So that's usually anywhere around 3 generations. So that's how we think of how constructing portfolios, how we think about it, yada yada. I don't want to get too much in that because today, these are day trading shows. But when we're talking day trading, right, there's really 4 instruments that I really trade on a daily. Obviously the ES, which we concentrate, that's what this show is all about, is concentrate on the ES. But I do trade crude, gold, and the dollar. So, right, a little bit of commodity trading, day trading in there, as well as FX. But I've been talking about this crude trade, and anything in this, like, say, $60 to $59 is just a really sweet spot on the chart. Let me blow this up. Let's take this and maximize this. Let's take this to, let's do like hourly, 30 days. Right? So really, like, when we look at crude, I just like this lower. I want to take this actually. Let's do this. Let's do like a yearly chart. Right? Like this is a nice, let me go back a little bit longer. I'm trying to get you guys. Now, you go back 2 years, this, say 59, 60 area, right, is a low of a range, right? And then, you get into the 75 area, and that's the high of the range. And then what are we doing? We're just oscillating, right, between lower range. This is a nice trap low, right, to higher range, to lower range, and then, right, I'll be expecting to move back up into the 75 areas. So even though, I get really granular on the ES, I day trade that, manage futures on the ES. When we talk about crude, gold, or the dollar, I don't necessarily day trade that. These are usually like what I would consider to be swing trades, a couple weeks at a time, month at most. Sometimes I do have to roll over the contracts on the crude, but I'm always brutally honest kind of person. sometimes I'm in your face, and so I'm just being transparent with you guys. I do like this setup on oil, and I did right. I am in that lower portion, in and around $59. I think I'm like $59.05. Oh no, I'm not. I'm $58.95 is where I'm averaged in. So just, that's where I'm at. Obviously, this is not investment advice, but me just being transparent with you guys. Let's go back to the dashboard. So I do like that. I am liking the way crude's setting up, right? It's just at that lower bound range. Gold, right? It's kind of a little bit what I would consider on the higher end of the range. So, I'm not really buying that, nor am I shorting it. And then, right, I haven't really been playing a lot of the dollar. So I'm just, again, really honest in the conversations with you guys. But so I have been, I really like that. I've been liking that crude for like a week. And yesterday, just that sell-off into the 58s, I was like, God, that's just juicy. It was just staring me in the face yesterday, and I was like, oh, I'm going to double down here. So, 10-year rate, going back to the news or the commentary, 10-year trade is 4.09. We're trading about 4 point. On the TNX, we're trading around 40.56. Or no. It looks like it's scheduled to open at around 41.08. Dollar, right? Still in a very, on an hourly chart, and again, going back to that grid, we are below that 99.888 key level. So we're trading at around closer to the 99. So has been, right, a little softer. Stock specific news, what do we got here? ETF specific news, right? We have expanding ESPN into Asia, yada yada. JD beat Q3 expectations thanks to stabilized new business losses and robust retail growth. FedEx received a price target boost from Citigroup to 310. Again, summary. Y charts are saying expect initial choppiness in the markets. We're going to talk about that again. I'm going to somewhat agree to this. We're going to talk about the range in today's trading. Keep a watch on the right. We already know there's a delay for the CPI, oil and energy stocks, maybe pressured by supply overhang. We'll be watching that. And then we got Fed speakers. A little bit more Fed speakers. There was a little bit of yesterday. Didn't look like they moved the market. I know people, I don't know. I don't put a lot of weight on the Fed speakers, except for when Powell speaks. But I know everybody, every so often somebody says something and it does move the market. But again, if you back test, I'm always a back test person. You back test these things. Again, it's like, what is anything's possible, but what's probable? And when you look at probabilistically, when Fed speakers speak, it's rare. It was like under 10% of the time when you got anybody besides the chair speaking, it's rarely that they move the market. And once in a great while, yeah, you'll get somebody to fire off something and it moves the market. But for the most part, any other Fed speaker besides the chair normally doesn't necessarily move the market. Speaking of Feds and Fed chairs and interest rates, right? We got we do this every time. Every morning I look at this, and again, look at last month, right? Again, before the presser and the interest rate in October, we were at 95% for December's rate cut. He said, hey, nothing is, it's not a for sure conclusion. And the market then moved it down to a week ago to 69.6, and then again yesterday 62.9. I think, what was it, Tuesday it was 63, and we just keep on edging this down. And now look at even today with the government reopening, and data is going to come out, which non-farm payrolls, this should move, that, you know, this will move tomorrow for sure, after NFP. But again, moving back to, it's almost 50-50 on, you know, no rate cut to a rate cut. So I think, you know, we'll have to watch how that continues. Again, when I'm thinking of our long-term portfolio, you know, I know we do a market trading report. That's a monthly report, and I go through that. And again, we're under the what do I want to say? This rate cutting environment. So if we're not, and we're in pause mode, it'll be a little bit of tactical movement in the portfolio. But as of right now, there, you know, we do have probabilities to cut, so we'll just keep it at that. And if we look at the probabilistic scale going out even further, right? Again, still one cut into the end of the year, or in the end of the year and into the first quarter. And then next year in the summer, we're going to get another cut. And then really, again, just watching how this unfolds, you know, there's no more cuts. So all of basically 27, there's nothing. So we're not hiking, but we're not cutting, and it's just stabilizing. We'll see how that changes over time, the glide path. So with that said, let's get into the charts. That's what we're all here for, right? We're day trading, and we're here to make money as we day trade the ES. Oh, let's back this up, clear this out. There's nothing that I really have on the ES. Oh, I do want to, I have this up, this Netflix up, because Netflix, they did on November 17th, I think they're doing a 10-to-1 split. So I'm watching that. So Netflix finally, I've been thinking, like, waiting for that split for a long time, and it looks like November 17th. So keep that on the radar. I'm watching it. So that's something that just came across the wire this morning, and that I noticed. And so 10-to-1 on November 17th, so next week. So I'm watching that. So that's why that chart was up, because I was looking at that earlier. But as far as today, the one thing I do want to note, right, daily chart, right, we always, you know, we have a pattern that we do, or I do, as I always come into every morning. I start off with the day chart, go to the hourly chart, and then we go to the trigger chart, which is a 5-minute chart. But on today's session, right, we do have on a day chart, right, we made a low and a high. We made a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Yesterday we made a higher high, higher low, and then we're coming in today with the first lower high and lower low. So that is, you know, I watch that. I do think it's important as you watch these, I call them one time framing, as you step, right? So these stair steps that people talk about, I'm always watching that on that stair step formation, or what would be like one time framing, where you're constantly marching and you're making higher highs or higher lows, or lower highs and lower lows. And again, the concept behind that is there's only 3 ways that a market really trades, right? So it either is trending, which is in a channel, right? And it could be a ascending channel or descending channel. It can go sideways, or it can consolidate in a triangle, right? And that's, you know, this is where you get higher highs but lower lows, higher highs and lower lows. And again, we all know what equal, and then this is that one time framing that I talk about, where if you're trending, right, you're making highs and lows, and then, right, where are you going from there? And so these are just easy concepts. I know a lot of people, they make trading hard, and it doesn't have to be hard. It's fairly easy. I mean, this is like stuff that you learned in, when you were like 5 years old, and you're putting the little shapes in the bucket. Square goes to a square, triangle goes into a triangle, yada yada. I mean, it doesn't have to be that hard. Trading, it's up or down, and it only trades 3 ways. So there's not that much. It's not too complicated. So now that we know that, lower high, we're coming in. We did not make a higher high in the overnight from yesterday's high, and we did crack yesterday's low a day. Now, as we move into the hourly chart, right, we look into the volume profile. Right, this is, again, context. What were we doing? We were, right, on an hourly chart. We're making higher highs and higher lows. Yesterday we were watching, right? We had talked about and said, right, there was a gap. Look for day trade type 1, which is a gap fill reversal trade. So, right, that played out perfectly as discussed. And then, right, we said buyers still are in control, even though, right, you're trading that short-term retracement, that pullback. Buyers are in control until the 68.48 and a quarter, and right, that never got breached, that 68.48 and a quarter. And again, as we come in today, still that 68.48 and a quarter, which is right here, still not breached, and that comes from the low volume node on the distribution. So what we do see on the chart, going back to simple questions, is what's everybody see on the chart? So on an hourly chart, everybody should be seeing this, that we're making higher highs and higher lows. We are in this, right, after this failed by the sellers, right, and then this move here, right, buyers really are back in control. Now that can flip, but as of right now, you have to give weight or edge, I should say, edge to the buyers. Now they can lose that, and sellers can take back control, but as we're looking at the charts as of right now, in real time, as we're playing this game, buyers have control. In the short term, I would consider this a little bit neutral because of the range. Long term, still a little bit neutral. So I don't want to give too much weight to the buyers, but, gun to my head, somebody says pick a side, I'm going to say buyers. That's how I'm always thinking. You can't be wishy-washy in this business. You have to, you have to pick. You have to pick how you're going to trade. You're either going to go long or short. You can't be wishy-washy. So right now, setting up long. And again, as we trade this market, this just looks like we're setting into a range. This distribution right here, right, back and fill. I talk about this. This is in one of my videos, how we back and fill this. And how do you back and fill? Is you just range rotate, right? So you trade the low of the range to the high of the range, low of the range to the high of the range. And then what that does is that fills in this distribution node, and over time this just builds out, gets bigger, right? And then this is the don't fiddle in the middle, as your mother used to tell you when you were a teenager. So it's never a good place to trade in, is around here, right? And so you want to trade the edges. And that's what we're talking about today, is we're down at that lower edge. Think range trade, right? So that 48, that 68.48 still is the hard level. The same levels that were in yesterday are going to be the same levels going in today, with a little bit of slight nuances. So again, range trading. Again, those simple questions, which we just talked about. What's everybody see on the chart? What's price telling us? Again, buyers are in control slightly. What's their objective, right? The objective is going to be to range rotate and then, right, take out the highs. Where they fail, all right, is that below that 68.48, and then if they get that below, hold a pull back, sellers hold a pull back, and then, right, take it back lower. And again, then this will just look like, right, a head and shoulders, and we all know what pattern how that plays out. But as of right now, trading range, right, and going forward there. The next question is, are they struggling to achieve it? So that's the thing, is, are they struggling? I would, right now I'd say no, and we'll talk about this, but what do we got? Overnight volume delta is about 2.03 net long. So I would, even though this in the overnight, we're, right, like right now we're negative 19.25 points. So even though we're negative 19.25 points, the overnight skew is positive. So again, are they struggling? I don't know if I would necessarily say yes to that. Is the buyer struggling? I would not say that they are. Now, if we were coming into this and it was negative and you had negative skew, then I might change my opinion on that and say, all right, the buyers are struggling a little bit as we come into the overnight with a negative, right? We're lower from the close and you have negative skew. So, but again, somebody could make the argument, glass half full, half empty, that, okay, yeah, you have positive skew, but yet you got negative, right? You're negative 19 points from the close. So I guess however you want to look at it. I'm right now a little bit optimistic, and so again, leaning a little bit on the bullish side. You can take that for however it is worth. Let's look at the market profile chart as we do one chart, right? Similar routine every day. Things that I like to look at, right? We are trading right at, so again, this is last week's, for anybody new, this is last week's static profile. This is the developing, this is this week's from Sunday open, this week's developing profile or weekly profile. And again, that static value area high, we are right there, and you can see where we have last week's distribution node, and then going into this week, right, the developing on a weekly profile, the developing point of control is up and around that 68.73. So, right, does that become overhead supply and the market comes down? That is to be determined in real time, right? This is a game. If anybody, I like sports analogies. If anybody's ever played football, basketball, if you've ever wrestled, maybe played soccer. I mean, I didn't play soccer, but sports analogies are always good. As this is a game that is played in real time, right? So again, in real time, you are assessing, so buyers on Tuesday, right, made a new 1st and 10 football analogy, right? You're marching down the field. On Tuesday, you made a new 1st and 10, right? Yesterday's price action, I would say you're 2 and 7, right? So 7 more yards to go. And then, as we come in here, we're like 3rd and 4. So do we make a new first set of downs, or, right, do we have to punt it? And that's the, and this is real time. So I think sometimes people I know there's YouTubers out there or market participants. This is things that I've learned from investment traders at Goldman Sachs and at Morgan Stanley, when I give shout out to William and to Charles. But these things of you're trading this market in real time, and so, right, you have to pick a side, you have to pick a trade setup, and then you back test, and this is about game of probabilistic setups, and if you're wrong, it's getting out quickly, and if you have to flip, you flip. So right now I'm just looking at this market, And again, we're at that level in which, this has to either range rotate, and we're at a good buying the lows, rotating up to the highs, or this is going to open up and we're going to break down. Again, the anticipation for non-farm payrolls tomorrow, I'm more in that camp of just sector rotation, right? And not necessarily breaking right down. But that can change, right? Just like in the game. If we take this down into a daily portion, looking at daily profiles, the thing that I think we got to take and note is that we are still, right, we had value. So as we got into Monday's static value, Tuesday's static value is overlapping to up. And then even yesterday is it's a slight overlapping to up, but it is overlapping to up. Now we're coming into today with the overnight overlapping to down. So, right? But again, I don't take so much into the overnight sessions. I take it in the RTH sessions. That's the real tape. So, not a lot of volume in the overnight, not a lot of commitment in the overnight session. So I take it with a grain of salt when we talk about distribution nodes. So, right. So again, it's a slow march higher. How does today play out? If we're range rotating, then this should be either developing value equal with not so much of a, overlapping to up or down, just more overlapping from yesterday's range. So that is what you should be concentrating on today. Now, let's get into the trigger chart, right? And we'll look at pathing. So, things to note from the morning market, the written version. Some of you guys are just here, you're free, you're not paid clients, so you don't get the written version. But as I talk through this, you guys get the gist. So I am looking at opening up in day trade setup 3, looking at strict balance, and then I will be looking as my focus shifts as the day goes on into day trade setup 7. So anybody has my day trade setups, I have 15 day trade setups. I will be looking at in the open type 3, and then as the day shifts, I will be shifting towards that type 7. So what does that mean as we get into today's session? Also, right, I have this this is a 5-minute chart, and I kept it wide out for 5 days because I still want to show everybody there is still this open gap, right? So we did repair, which we talked about yesterday, the gap from yesterday that got taken out, right? Day trade type 1 played out nicely, and then as we opened up today, right, I'm just saying that there's still that gap down there. So with that little said, carry that forward. But with that said, as we get granular, right, again, just trading these ranges, right? So that 6,905 or 6,950, and then right, that 68.40 and a quarter is that line in the sand, and that's just it. We talked about this yesterday. That's the line in the sand for the buyers to still hold that control. A slip, now again, a poke ain't gonna be a big deal, but if you get a meaningful push lower and then a hold, the pullback, right, then we have to flip, and then this is just one larger rollover, but I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. That's, day trade type 3 is again bringing this back up into value, as again it's a strict balance, and then again we'll chop around here, and then I'll be looking for 7 as we rotate back up into the range. And so this will just set up as range rotation. Real simple. Nothing complex. Now what we'll be watching for, and if I'm incorrect, right, then the incorrect will be right underneath 68.40 and a quarter, 68.48 and a quarter, and we break down from that level and on the open as we open up, which is basically 27 minutes away. And then you get a pullback, and they hold the pullback, and then it's further selling. Before I let you guys go, we'll look at a couple things to keep an eye on the flex grid for the market internals. But again, when you're trading, I think so many people focus on the entry. I'm sorry, I gotta take a drink of coffee here. Sorry. So many people get focused on the entry, and they don't focus. So I always think, when I was a child, we all got, when we were, I don't know, maybe I'm just telling my story, but whenever I would sit in we go to restaurants, and back in the day, right, it's going to show you how old, my age, but back in the day in restaurants, you'd get placemats, and they would have mazes or whatever, and so they'd say start, the maze would start, and said start here with an arrow, and then end, and you'd have an end. Big Boy, which you can tell I'm originally from Michigan. I now live in South Carolina, but I don't know if any Michiganders are here, but we have a Big Boy restaurant, and they had placemats back in the day, and they'd have mazes, and so I'd start at the end. So you'd start at the finish line and then work the maze to the start, and that's how I'd do the maze. I wouldn't start and then go to the finish. I would start at the finish and then go to the start. So I'd reverse engineer it, and that's how it is in trading. So I'm always think where am I wrong first? Where's my out or my exit strategy? That's the first concept. Whether I'm buying a business, whether I'm trading, I'm portfolio construction, I'm buying real estate, however it is, the risk is constructed first. Where am I wrong? What is my risk? And then I think about how am I getting in. So getting in is the second step in the mental mind map. The first step is, my outs, my exit strategies, and where am I wrong. So again, I am wrong underneath this 68, 48 and a quarter, right? Meaningful through 68 and a quarter, and then to hold the pull back and then a move lower. That's where I'm wrong. As of right now, do we chop here, open up, and then boom, we come back into day trade type 3 and then back into the move. And that's what I'll be looking for. Again, I say this and I repeat this all the time. It's if then. So if this happens, then this should happen. If this happens, then this should happen. If this happens, then it doesn't happen. That should be the telltale, right? It's that second part. Then this should happen. And if it doesn't, that's your wrong. Get out. Again, this game is about letting winners run and then getting out of the losers as quick as possible. So, with that said, let's go into, and I'll finish up just back on the dashboard. And again, today's really easy. Today's plan, I know it seems like I talk forever. I look at how long I talk to you guys in the morning, and it's 40 minutes or 30 minutes, and I'm like, Jesus, it doesn't seem like the analysis should take that long. This should be very easy. I know sometimes I get new people. There's a lot of questions, so I try to, probably beat the horse to death more than what I should. But, as I talk to people, just trying to make sure everybody understands or there's a good comprehension of what's going on. So, let me move this out of the way. So finishing up, let's wrap it up, right? So I'll be watching as value builds during that first hour, whether it leans above or below, right? That 68, 48 and a quarter. If we get back up above that 68.57, right? I'm going to be, right? That should be strength reuniting as I'm talking to you guys right now, right? We're now at 68.44 and a half. That is breaking through 68.48 and a quarter. So again, watching how this opens up. If that doesn't recapture it very quickly, and again, I use the word quickly, then right, as I talked about, you'll be waiting for and watching, right, that breakthrough, and then retest, and then hold the pullback. Then sellers come back into the fold. Watching off the open, these market internals is going to be probably the most crucial thing off the open. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. So, watching how the Vold plays out as we enter in the open. Do we start oh my gosh, cumulatively start building lower, or do we, continue a march higher? The ADSPD is positive, so watching this will probably start out negative on the open, right? And I'm thinking about we're down 31 points, so this will open more than likely negative, right? So don't get spooked. It'll open more than likely negative just based on where we're at, 33 points on the downside. And so that's what you'll be watching is, as this opens up negative, right, does this start to move higher, or do we open up negative, right, kind of at like where you get this, right? So except it opens up negative and then you get a wash down, right? And so you'll be watching that. Or is it where we open negative and you get some action like this, where even though I'm trying to give you guys kind of like more like this. This should be the better look, right? It should be more like this. So like on Friday's action, where Friday you open up negative and then right away you get positive. If I get this granular, let me zoom this in. These are 5 minutes, right? And so on the 5 minute ADSPD, you open up negative, right? And then right away the 5 minute bar opens and then you get positive and then it builds into the positive. You'll be watching that, right? This is basically 30 minutes of trade, right? And you can see, that lift. And so that's what we'll be watching for is, right, we're now at, right, that hit that low at around 68.40 just a few minutes ago. Now we're trading at 68.45, 75, 46. And again, as we open up, does that kind of get back above 48? That was a little poke below, little trap low. And then, right, we open up on the ADSPD and then that meaningfully moves up. Or does it do something like this look, where you open up and, right, it opens up and then goes lower. That's the look that you really, right, this is two great examples. I mean, this 5-day ADSPD right, gives two perfect examples of what I'm trying to illustrate with you guys, and you're going to want to watch that right off the bat. Tick, again, how does that unfold? This is gonna, usually the tick, I don't watch that. It's a little noisy off the open, but what I do is usually after like 30 minutes of trade, that's when I'll start looking at the tick. Off the open, this is really noisy, and I haven't really, me personally, I'm just giving you my personal, I haven't been able to find the edge on the tick off the open. It's more of as the first 30 minutes plays out, and again, these are 5 minute tick bars, then it gives me information that I can then lean on, like if I'm leaning short or leaning long, right? And I'm looking at the cumulative build. So I'm watching the triangles that are building out on this chart, and then I'm watching the cumulative build. Is it building lower or are we building higher? And usually it takes like 30 minutes of this to kind of, right, like 5 minute bar, another 5 minute bar, next 5 minute bar, and you need a little bit of time. And so, but after about 30 minutes, then I'll start leaning on this indicator here on the tick. But really off the open I'm leaning on this After about 30 minutes, I switch to the tick and I lean heavily on that. And this just, again, over time, as the day progresses, what it is then I'll move into this, the VOLD, and then do I, add to my my position? Like then I start leaning into that. Like, do I lean in or do I take off? You know what I mean? Do I add to the position and build into it as the day progresses, or is it something like the VOLD is telling me as the day progresses, as we get into like the 1 o'clock time frame, that kind of tells me like, all right, should I lean into this trade heavily and really lean into it by the end of the day, or should I just take some off, take some profits, and then just let a runner kind of go into the end of the day? And so again, like just kind of giving you guys like a sequence. This is sequence 1, and then I roll into this into sequence 2, and then I roll into this in sequence 3. If I give you like, hey, priority levels. So first thing in the morning, and then as the day progresses. Now I look at all of them throughout the day, but just kind of that sequence, just of importance in the day of trading, at real live trading. So other than that, if you are in and around Myrtle Beach, come and see us in the office. We have an office here at 100 Sutter Drive. We're always looking for traders. If you're here on vacation, stop by, see us, get a beer, get a dinner. My door is always open. I love interacting with other traders, investors. If you're into real estate, again, or maybe you want to dabble in real estate, you got some questions. We are real estate investors. We do have a real estate portfolio. My wife is a real estate broker. Come and shoot shit with us if you're an agent or you want to be an agent, real estate agent. We're always open. That door is always open as well. We have a private equity division. We are looking for businesses, community, HOA community management companies. If you do have one or you know of one, we are looking at purchasing that. It's kind of we're adding that to the portfolio. It's kind of a precedent in the now. And then otherwise you can contact us, our office number right down here at the bottom. Call our office. This is an email if you're interested in trading. This is the trading website. And then again, if it's more general, what you want to really learn about us, the firm is Pries Capital. Other than that, learn, trade, profit, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy. Have a good trade.